Hey everybody, Joe here from the Lions Led by Donkeys podcast. If you enjoy what we do here on the show and you think it's worth your hard-earned money, you can support the show via Patreon. Just a $1 donation gets you access to bonus episodes, our Discord, and regular episodes before everybody else. If you donate at an elevated level, you get even more bonus content. A digital copy of my book, The Hooligans of Kandahar, and a sticker from our Teespring store. Our show will always be ad-free and is totally supporter-driven. We use that money to pay our bills, buy research materials that make this show possible, and support charities like the Kurdish Red Crescent, the Flint Water Fund, and the Halo Trust. Consider joining the Legion of the Old Crow today. And now back to the show.
You have like the bumpy braille nipples, the Stevie Wonders?
Yeah, they were nice. You know, when you grab a woman's breast and you feel it and it feels like a bag of sand when you're touching it.
Bag of sand.
Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Lions Led by Donkeys podcast. Got the whole crew in the house today. Most importantly, you have Leica, you have me, Joe, Rich, you have Nick.
Did you
What's
fart?
up? Leica?
No, you.
No.
Oh, okay. That was the seat.
It's not awkward. It's weird.
It was probably the seat.
So I guess this intro is a good way to show how far we've come in 2 years and 100 episodes of still not being good at this. So we are doing a Q&A for our 100th episode. That is 100 on the dot. No, I certainly did not go over that by several. I'm good at planning.
You said you wouldn't do it, and you did it.
Hey, if you're keeping track, I do that a lot.
No one likes a liar, Joe.
I was not lying. You merely misheard me.
In this extreme time of uncertainty, you're starting to sound like all of the politicians.
Look here, Jack. I got nothing after that. No, nothing that Nate wouldn't have to edit out. So we're doing a Q&A for our 100th episode, and it is about our 2-year anniversary as well. I think it's like a couple weeks removed, something like that. So we've come a long way in 2 years and 100 episodes exactly. Have we not? I mean, like
2 rooms.
100.
For one, our original room exploded with a water leak, and we found out that night that the guy who fixed it was a Lions Led by Donkeys fan.
Hey.
So thanks, roof guy. Not
Isn't he Australian?
No, that was the guy who repaired the hole in the ceiling, not the guy who fixed the air conditioner that was pouring water into the hole.
Wrong guy.
Some fine workmanship here in the Pacific Northwest when it comes to home building. Now we started out as like we were getting drunk and roasting YouTube videos about history and playing video games and stuff. And, we made a Q&A when we hit 10 episodes because we did 10 episodes on time and it blew our minds. And we actually have not missed an episode update on schedule yet, which is far more reliable than I am at work. So I have to say I'm proud of us for that.
With our shit schedule?
Yeah. I mean, all of us have terrible schedules. We do not sleep like normal people, and sometimes we've come down to the wire quite a few times. One time I had to call it, or 2 times I had to call him an emergency guest host because the army stole you off the NTC or something. And it was just a subject that Rich would not have appreciated, or she was also stolen away by the military for large stretches of time.
I appreciate very few of these subjects. No offense, guys.
Yeah, the third co-host, not the biggest fan of the show. I'm glad we got that.
I love the show. Joe and Nick are awesome. Just not a big fan of history.
Yeah, that's problematic on a history show. Especially with coworkers, hey, do you listen to this show? You sound kind of like that host.
No,
Nope.
That's not me.
That's definitely not Rich. Because if you quiz me, I won't know shit. So clearly that's not me.
See, it's just
True.
plausible deniability. I
Yeah.
have to hold it.
Yeah, that's the same way as it's plausible deniability that every once in a while when we get too drunk, we say something that has to be edited out. That never happened. It's not sitting saved on Nate's burn file somewhere whenever we piss him off to just
Blackmail
release.
corner.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to up those Patreon donations. Remember, let the slur slide. We have not said any slurs.
Yeah, no slurs.
I feel like I need to point that out. And if we did, they were probably directed at Texas.
More than likely. Yes.
There have been a few at California
And New Jersey as well.
and Michigan.
Yeah, but fuck Michigan. We say a lot about New Jersey, and I think I said a lot of hateful shit about Philadelphia as well.
I think either Arkansas or Alabama, one of those A states too.
I mean,
It'd have to
low-hanging
be- yeah.
fruit.
Alabama's really low.
They fucking know. I mean, they know, right?
I know, they won't even do a shelter-in-place order in Alabama, apparently.
It's actually incredibly easy to pray coronavirus away. That's why I'm still healthy.
Yes, but you have to all commune in church, all in one crowded area.
It's not the fact that I don't have a life is why. That's why. I was really good at social distancing by not having any friends.
But you're still going to work. You're essential.
Yeah. I'm over that. I'm not cool with being essential.
Samesies.
Now, like when we started this whole thing, did you think that we were ever going to make 100 fucking
Not at all.
episodes? Like, Rich, you never think it was going to get off the ground.
I didn't think much about it at first, to be honest.
Did you think we'd have 1 million people that have listened to us speak?
No.
Definitely not that part either. I thought best case scenario, we'd have like 500 people. We're like, yeah, these guys are all right.
Yeah, I honestly thought we'd get so pissed off at the first episode. We'd be like, fuck this.
You losers all need to find something better to do with your lives. Just kidding. We love you.
I disagree wholeheartedly with Rich. You should pay more attention to us. Don't do that. It might melt your brain. There's actually somebody's question. It's like, do you think it's good right now? Is it a good time to binge watch Lions Led by Donkeys? I mean, professionally, I have to say yes. Mentally, probably not. Skip around to the lighthearted episodes. Skip on the genocide and the Nazi stuff.
I hate to be a stickler here, but you can't binge watch this.
Binge listen. Shut up. Shut up,
You can
Rich.
watch it.
Oh, I'm sorry. The semantics police are here.
Always.
Finally, I believe in the all cops are bastards thing. Now, it's really strange because, like, since this show started, I've traveled across the country and I've talked to like college students and professionals and stuff, and like legitimate academics, like, yeah, I love your show. I'm like, why? Why? One, I know I can't pronounce things for shit, okay? And two, like, my research should not be being praised by a fucking PhD. Even though I'm really proud of it, like, I feel like it's below you. I mean, please don't stop listening to us. I have bills to pay. But
I feel like you're giving them reasons.
I know I should stop.
Yeah.
It's like when everybody says that they enjoyed my book. I'm like, I'm sorry. Or nobody's perfect.
Yeah, just quit while you're ahead, Joe.
Don't touch Steven.
I don't know why, but Rich is threatening us with our cardboard cutout of Steven Seagal.
I was just looking. His midsection looks a little off. Did you do something to
Yeah, he's
No, he
fat.
probably photoshopped it because he's fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, thanks to like our incredibly loyal fan base that has joined us on Discord, we actually now have a cardboard cutout of a rapist in our recording studio.
Staring at Rich.
Yeah.
In a very creepy way. He really is like staring down at
Steven
me.
Seagal can only stare at you in a creepy way.
That's true.
He's
Like,
he's eyeing you like prime rib, both because he's hungry and because he's a rapist.
who chose that specific picture to make a cardboard cutout with? Like, he's
I'm
making
going
the
to
dumbest,
assume Steven Seagal
creepiest
himself.
face.
I'm going to assume Steven Seagal himself.
He thought that was hot.
Yeah, he's like, these are my bedroom eyes.
Yeah, it probably is his bedroom eye.
Now, I feel like it would be a good way, because I just said, I was just talking about how big we've all, the show's become. Like, we've met people in the wild that enjoy our show, which is weird. Like, I've seen more than one sticker just floating around JBLM or like the Lakewood area or Seattle, which, like, I always want to be like, whose car is this?
And follow them home.
Yeah, and then like just hide in their closet for a little while. But like it's wild. So I thought we should bring us down a bit by reading a bad review I found on iTunes. It's kind of funny. So I use a podcast app to listen to other podcasts, and I never listen to ours because I find my own voice horrible. Called Castbox.
Oh yeah.
I know it's like, I guess it's kind of popular, but I did not know you could leave comments on it. And I saw that our feed had like 4 comments. All of them are on the Andersonville prison episode. and all of them are insulting us because they're neo-Confederates.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I'm gonna go back and look at that.
Though those aren't the reviews I wanted to get into because those people are hardly literate, and I don't feel like being a code breaker today. Though I did see that one of them said that like they definitely said that we must have gone to public school, which yeah. No shit.
Thank you.
I'm not sure what you thought you were tuning into in this
Brown
podcast.
University.
I am local Cornell graduate
We
Joseph
are
Kasabian.
all, or once were, enlisted members of the army. Where the fuck do you think soldiers come from?
and like went to at best a bad state university.
Okay, I can't say that. I have a culinary degree from before the army, but the only reason I'm close to a bachelor's is because of army tuition assistance, and it's an online shitty school. So come the fuck on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that my dumb ass that was poor as fuck is not going to scrape my way through college without the military.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, we went state. We went to public schools, and we go to public schools now, and fuck you.
As does like 90%
Suck
of
my
America.
lower class dick. But this review comes from iTunes. So recently we've been unlocking bonus content to help people like kind of distract themselves from being locked inside and not being able to go to work. Also under the understanding that, you know, giving money to a podcast that makes you laugh every now and then isn't the highest priority for everybody right now. So I started unlocking more content to give people 2 episodes a week. One of those was the remake of Red Dawn, which I think we all agreed was the worst movie we ever watched.
So far, yeah.
I only noticed Chris Hemsworth, that he was there, that he was hot.
I enjoyed when he got shot in the head.
I didn't. I did not enjoy that.
I think we laughed at that part.
You know, I did, because when I watched it in theater, I think I point out, like, I didn't expect the main character to go down like that.
I in a hallway just...
And that's how you could tell that when they wrote that movie, they did not think Chris Hemsworth was going to be Thor by that point, because they would not have killed him. Or at least not without some heroic last stand that definitely would end with, "You guys go, I'll stay here." No, he just gets fucking gunned down the hallway like a fucking
in a shitty
putz.
apartment building.
Yeah. To be fair, they did shoot it in Michigan. They all look like that.
That's the nicer ones.
You know, I would actually like to thank the fine North Korean People's Army for refurbishing Waterford, Michigan, and giving everybody jobs. I'm kidding. Not a big Juche guy in here, but anyway, this is a bad review that comes from that. It's obviously not a Patreon supporter because it's on iTunes, and that only would have been available to him about last month. Quote, "Why are you comparing modern day left-wing bullshit with the remake of a good movie? The new one is terrible, as you say, but why bring up things that happened in America a long time ago? We know the movie is stupid and dumb, but bring your stupid left-wing politics is also stupid and dumb. Who cares? Just review the horrible and stupid movie." Okay, drink every time he said stupid.
We're a history podcast.
Yeah. We are a history podcast! That's the first thing that pointed.
Why are you talking about shit that happened in American history?
And most importantly, literally the only thing he could be talking about is the fact that I brought up that this movie is shot in Washington State shot in Michigan and based in Spokane in Washington State, where we're located, which has a huge track record of anti-Asian racism. And I point out that we live maybe 30 minutes away from a former internment camp. So that apparently was a pretty big distraction to him. Also, oh no, there's left-wing bullshit in this podcast hosted by socialists!
It's great because you're in your PJs.
I am wearing,
You look fucking insane.
Yeah, full-on lockdown mode. We're recording at 3 p.m. You're in uniform. You just changed out of workout clothes, and I'm in pajama pants.
Pajama pants that are hiked up to your knees for some reason.
Gotta get the air flowing through. The recording studio is either really, really hot or really, really cold. I have to be prepared for both. So I have one pant leg rolled up, just in case like the Crips roll through, and one rolled down in case I get kind of cold because I'm a pussy. Now, I thought it would be fun to start out with that because I thought it was funny.
Solid.
Yeah. I got to bring us down before we start talking about stuff. Now, What are your favorite non-history authors or non-history books? Rich, you go ahead and say the most predictable answer ever.
What do you think I'm gonna say?
Well, seeing how our very first bonus episode is you and me talking about Harry Potter and how magical teenagers fucking suck at war, take it from here.
Okay, so I have read Harry Potter, the entire series, probably the whole series at least 4 times. I read at least one book over a year. I absolutely love them. They never get old. So definitely my favorite books that are non-history, unless you count our Hogwarts episode on this podcast.
I mean, that's just history. Yeah.
I also
More than once I've gotten in your car and like you were just listening to the audiobook, like a random book of the series.
Is that a problem?
It was just weird. Like, I'm going to read the 4th book.
Yeah, I just like pick one. I'm like, I haven't read
Go
this
in
one in
order.
a while. No, I know what happens. I know the whole story. I don't need to go in order. Sometimes I just want to hear about the Goblet of Fire.
And is J.K. Rowling your favorite non-history author?
No.
Who is?
Um,
I mean, J.K. Rowling, I mean, I'm not, Harry Potter isn't my favorite book of all time, but like Harry Potter definitely got me into reading because it came out when I was like started coming out when I was in middle school. But J.K. Rowling's other stuff has been kind of,
yeah.
you
I
peaked.
kind of go in
You
phases.
peaked.
Yeah. Yeah, she really actually, like, I read a couple of her like Robert Galbraith books or whatever, and they're not bad. It's just not like the level of Harry Potter. It's just not as good.
They're not bad, but they're not Harry Potter.
I used to read a ton of John Grisham. Like, for some reason when I was in high school, I fucking loved legal thrillers.
That is really weird for a high schooler to get
John
into.
Grisham too.
Yeah, I used to
my
love
mom
him.
definitely.
That's a mom book. John
That is-
Grisham
Yeah.
is a mom book.
That's probably why I started reading, because my mom was reading them, and I would just read some of the books that she read. But I loved The Firm, The Pelican Brief, Time to Kill.
Time to Kill is the only one that I've read. And I read it after I watched the movie because Samuel Jackson, yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
Yeah. Stephen King, definitely. I'm really into Leanne Moriarty right now. She's great. But yeah.
Solid name. She sounds like she should be a spy.
She's Australian.
Oh, so she's racist.
I don't know.
It's sad because really what got me into books is history.
Yeah.
But the first books I've read were definitely Tom Clancy books my dad had laying around.
Have you ever gone back and looked at when Tom Clancy wrote a sex scene?
What?
It's terrible. Do yourself a favor, look it up.
What is it in any of his books?
I cannot remember which book it is in, but it's bad.
Is it like bland bad or is it like
So you remember the
it got you
40-year-old
horny
virgin?
bad?
You remember the 40-year-old virgin?
Yeah.
When Steve Carell character is trying to explain what a boob feels like despite never having
Yeah.
felt one.
That's it. That's
Tom
it.
Clancy has never fucked. It's impossible. Nobody could actually have sex and write that. It's like having sex and then writing that scene from Enemy at the Gates. Like, you wouldn't fuck like that.
Have you written a sex scene?
Absolutely not. I
read
cut
your-
to black.
I didn't think
I know
so.
better. Because I'm a guy. I'm not sensual in
I
any
would
way.
really love to hear a
It would
sex
just
scene
be
that
a bunch
you
of
wrote.
caveman drawings, like hieroglyphics from you. Just
For a bonus episode, I'm going to read the Tom Clancy sex scene in like the most serious narrator voice
Yes.
I possibly can. But no, I've never wrote a sex scene, and I don't think I ever will.
I think you should.
Yeah,
I
you
think
really
you should
should.
do America a favor.
I'm a white man. I'm afraid of change.
throw it in your sci-fi book.
I mean,
Your wife must be so pleased.
yeah, it's funny because I almost did, and I had one in I think the second Citizen of Earth, The Great Traitor, which should be coming out this summer. But I cut it on my second pass through. I'm like, nope. Even my editor said it was fine. I was like, nope. And my editor is a woman. So either she is hurting or like I wrote something decent and I hated it anyway, which
Fiona
is
and
very
Vincent
on
deserve
brand.
to get some.
Oh, they fuck. You're just never going to find out about
Says
it.
between the lines.
Yeah, it's implied. It's the implication. My favorite non-history book series is definitely Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings got me into reading from, I don't even know how young I was when I started reading Fellowship of the Ring, but I like devoured all those books in a couple weeks. after I watched the first movie and found out, holy shit, this is based on a book. Books must be cool. And like also The Giver was probably around the same time. That really
love The Giver. I love anything dystopian, really.
I think we should all just as collectively forget that there's sequels that completely ruin the first one, and everything is a lot better. One of my favorite non-history authors is really hard for me right now. I don't have like an all-time favorite author. I fluctuate wildly. Right now, it's probably Django Wexler, who actually lives up in Seattle. And he wrote the Shadow Campaigns, which is like the best fantasy series I've read since Lord of the Rings. He takes like the Napoleonic Wars and the French Revolution and gives it magic, and it's baller as fuck. This is why I'm not a book reviewer.
That's fucking awesome.
Like,
It's ballers,
now,
but-
if you want,
if I saw that book review, I'd be like, "Fuck yeah!"
now, if you're a author and you want me to write a blurb like, "Yo, this book is baller as fuck," and you put it on your cover, hit me up. I'll do that for you.
New York Times says best fucking book ever. Joe Kasabian.
So
Baller
long as your
fuck.
book actually is baller as fuck, he's not gonna lie for you.
I mean, how much money are you paying me? I'm a podcaster. I will lie for money.
That's not a good thing to advertise in a history podcast.
I mean, history isn't going to pay me enough money to fucking lie. But, like, oh no, one day I might become a history teacher and make $25,000 a year. Look
All right.
out.
All right, Nick, what's your favorite?
I already kind of said it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Were you here?
I'm here.
Oh, I was just wondering. I don't really have any because
I don't think I've ever read a Tom Clancy book.
I have. It's not good. It's just not there. I'd rather watch the movies.
Yeah,
Which still aren't even
at
that
least they're
good.
normally starring people like Matt Damon or Ben Affleck, and
Harrison
they're pretty
Ford.
to look at. Yeah, Harrison Ford back before he looked like weathered leather. Though, to be fair, he's still better looking than me, and he's like 80.
He's a pretty old guy.
Yeah.
A few plane crashes under his seatbelt.
Yeah,
too.
he's not good at flying.
No, he's not.
I mean, the Navy would
FFA
probably
should
still
probably fucking take
the
his
Navy would
license.
probably still hire him because like someone's got to crash the F-35, but yeah, he's not. He should stop.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna let you guys weigh on this because this very
I weigh
well
more.
you do. I've thrown both of you, and I could
definitely weigh more than her.
I could attest that you are heavier.
So I win.
The ties that buy this podcast are actually domestic violence. This is something that will weigh in heavily between the war between your two states: corn or flour tortillas.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
First shot goes the rich.
HEB has.
How did I know you were gonna bring it up one time during this podcast?
The mixed ones. No.
Heb.
Yeah, no.
One or the other.
They solved the problem.
You're not
is
gonna.
what I'm saying.
You're not gonna Joe Biden your way out of this. You gotta pick a side.
HEB made mixed tortillas, and they're a mixture of corn and flour tortillas, and they are delicious. But
To the gulag.
it depends on what you're using them for. Because I love street tacos, which
Okay.
has to be corn tortillas.
Fair.
Okay, but I pick flour tortillas overall. They're more versatile and delicious.
I agree.
So I
But I'm
agree
white
too.
and I'm from the north.
I'm
So
white
I agree,
also.
too.
You guys actually both agree on something?
Yeah, they're different things.
Yeah, you
They're
have to
good
use
for.
them
Yeah.
But overall, flour wins.
Overall, yeah, flour
okay.
wins.
Flour tortillas get the podcast endorsement. HEB hit us up for the money.
Yeah, let's go
Hey, Heb.
HEB.
The Texas FEMA. Go ahead and hit us
Hill
up.
Country Fairs.
Hill Country Fairs.
Hill Country Fair. That's
I
the
don't know what that
HEB
is.
brand.
Is it? I
Yeah.
thought it was just HEB.
No, it's Hill Country Fair.
Weird. Learn something new every day.
I didn't expect to learn anything today.
You should, for I don't know reasons. Now, this one's directed at me. Someone who is an aspiring author would like to know how I use outlines for my novels and what I had to do to get the Hooligans published. Well, those two questions are actually counterintuitive because I did not use an outline for Hooligans, which is why it took so long to fucking edit. Also, the Hooligans was rejected, I believe, about 80 times. I lost count. Literally every major publishing house rejected it, or I heard nothing back. Agents rejected me or heard nothing back. It was bad. It's not good. Finally, it got published, obviously. But now that I guess if I was to say what finally got Hooligans published is I was not smart enough to quit. I could not quit while I was ahead. Persistence? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good word.
You pretty much started writing Hooligans while we were deployed, right?
Yeah, there's actually pictures of me writing it in the tent. because I was posting it to a blog, which actually might still exist. I hope not, because those are unedited and terrible. And people will see how bad of a writer I actually am. And people were sharing it with their families back home, and it made their families feel better. I don't know why. It's not a happy book. But as far as outlines for my current novels I'm working on, it's kind of like you do the who, what, where, why, how, and all that other shit for everything. I mean, you're writing a blueprint that you need to fill in with probably like 300 pages of exposition. So, like, you need to know your characters pretty well. You can tell when someone knows their characters well and when someone doesn't, because they'd be paper thin. So in order to learn what they are so you can write your book, you should probably write a biography for them and say what they're going to do and what horrible way you're going to kill them eventually. That might just be me, though. Okay, so hopefully that answered it.
Excuse
How?
me.
Now this one is interesting because this kind of could. I feel like, and this is something that we haven't really talked about on the show, mostly because it deals like personal politics and beliefs. I'll read the whole thing. I cannot stress how much I appreciate a leftist military history perspective from leftists. I'm a reservist. Yeah, I know I'm not actually in the Navy. That's all right. Either is your secretary now. And even when I show up to drill or my 2 weeks, I'm routinely the most progressive person in the room. And boy, howdy, is it frustrating. I have felt that. I cannot tell you how many people I have gotten into fights with because they said incredibly disparaging things about women or transgender people. Rich, I'm sure you have some feelings on that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when Secretary Carter passed the directive. Anyway, my question is, how do you feel about leftist gun ownership? I've heard of organizations like the SRA, which is the Socialist Rifle Association, for anybody who's unaware. And I'm a huge fan of Robert Evans. He's always talked about being a proud gun owner. We can actually all point out that we're all huge fans of Robert Evans.
Yes.
Love that guy. Now, this is actually interesting for me because I personally have gone through, I guess, growth. I don't know. I haven't always felt about guns how I do now. I went from not really having an opinion on them because I never had them in the house growing up to thinking that, wow, these things are kind of awful. They should probably all be thrown into an oven somewhere and destroyed, to we probably need more guns pretty rapidly. And obviously I was kind of a shithead contrarian leftist in high school, which slowly morphed into a more normal American liberal when Obama got elected. And then I quickly flew far, far fucking left when he betrayed everything that he stood for after 2008. And, but, you know, I think what opened my eyes to the idea of leftist gun ownership, and I'm not a member of the SRA or anything, or any organization for that matter, but what really opened my eyes is, like, I forget what year it was, but when all those fucking Bundy people, you know, the right-wing militias armed to the fucking teeth, literally held off the federal government. And they took to the streets waving guns around. Cops never did shit to stop them. And that started when I realized, like, state is not going to stop this. And I realized, you know, being a lifelong student of history and someone who's Armenian, when the people who are polarized against you start arming themselves, the last thing you should do is fucking disarm, because that's how you end up in camps. And I mean, that's the only, and we've learned from firsthand experience in Washington State that if you show up to protest things unarmed, you get your fucking ass kicked by the cops. But if you show up with guns, they let you march because they don't want to fuck with you. And, you know, I would hope that some kind of armed conflict is not coming. Like, you know, Robert Evans' amazing podcast laid out horribly for all of us. But I mean, I think until all guns are gone, nobody should fucking disarm. I mean, Marx himself said the working class shouldn't disarm. And you know, have you, like, what about you guys? I know we don't talk about guns much, other than like how dumb guns don't work in history. But like, I know, Rich, you're not a huge gun person, but you were raised around guns because you're from the South, right?
Yeah. So I probably, given my personal history, I probably should have more of an opinion on this. My first memory of shooting a rifle was when I was 5 years old and target practice with my dad on his hunting lease. My dad's a huge hunter. A lot of our food growing up was stuff that he actually killed and brought home.
Yeah.
He took me hunting with him, me and my sister hunting with him every year. I am a soldier in the Army. I'm obviously qualified to shoot rifles. I own guns myself, but unfortunately, I just don't. I guess I guess it's fair to say that I'm kind of ignorant on a lot of the actual gun issues, and I don't educate myself well on them. I own my guns legally, and that's pretty much as far as I go into it.
Yeah, and as far as like gun issues goes, I know I've probably unwisely made a lot of mass shooting jokes on this show because I don't know what to do about it, and it makes me uncomfortable. And whenever I'm put in a situation where I'm uncomfortable or confronted by something I don't know what to do, I make jokes, and that's something that statistically, you own a gun in the house, you're much more likely to be killed with that gun. I understand that. More guns do not make you safer. That's an ignorant right-wing talking point. They absolutely do not make you safer. Living around guns, you're much more likely to be killed by one, probably by your own hands. That being said, I don't own a fucking arms cache. I own 2 small pistols. And I thought about buying a rifle until very recently when those all vanished from the shelves. But yeah, and yeah, America has some of the worst fucking gun violence on earth, and that shit ain't going away. There's never going to be some kind of mass confiscation, and if it is, it will lead to Robert Evans' Civil War that he talked about. That's absolutely fucking sure. Nobody's going to give up all their weapons by force of the state. But until all guns magically get fairy wanded away, I don't want to give mine up either. I mean, I'm not a member of a racial or religious minority. I highly doubt, unless I get warped back to the Ottoman Empire, I'm going to be victimized other than for politics. But I do know, if that time comes, that those racial and religious minorities need allies, and I look forward into being one. And we should protect people who are exploited and are victimized. But what about you, Nick?
I own guns. I know before, a really long time ago, I used to be really right with it. Like, oh yeah, guns this, guns that. No, not anymore.
Your dad was a cop. That's to be expected.
Yeah, but even he chilled out a lot about it too. Like I just have no opinion on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And same with him.
I mean,
it's weird because we both went into that stage almost the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's all to be expected. I'm obviously the most overtly political of the 3 of us, so I'm going to have the most political stance on them. If you want to own a gun, but know how to fucking use it. Take training.
Solid, yes.
If you don't want to own a gun, great. I mean, America's bad at a lot of things, but we still have that. And honestly, if you want to own a gun right now, good fucking luck. Everything's sold out.
Definitely.
And they also ask if there's any literature to read to have a more informed platform. I will point you to something that Robert Evans pointed me to, actually, since you're a Robert Evans fan, is the book, This Nonviolent Stuff Will Get You Killed. It's about how militant civil rights activists got shit done. And I highly recommend it. It's a really good book. Now, after that, we're going to go to one that's targeted at all of us. It's a little bit lighthearted. Doesn't have to do with deep-seated political thoughts. For me, which Faygo flavor is best? Are you guys familiar with Faygo?
What the fuck is
What is
Faygo?
Okay, so you are aware of it to an extent that you're not aware of. You both know who the Insane Clown Posse is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's their sacrament, effectively. It's a regional Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, maybe, only soda that comes in probably like 20 fucking different flavors, and you can buy a 3-liter for 75 cents because we're all poor. Yeah. Yeah, and some of the flavors all just taste like chemistry. But the best one is definitely Red Pop.
Red Pop
Yep.
is the flavor.
It tastes like red. Nick, if you could change one thing about your dick tattoo, what would you change? And I feel like we need to talk about that for a second. It's podcast lore some people might not know about. Nick has a tattoo of a dick on his leg. He does not have a tattoo on his dick.
No,
That's
no,
an
no, no.
important
would've
thing we
hurt.
should put. Yeah, that hurt real bad. That's the $10,000 a month Patreon goal.
Ooh,
Get at it.
I'd honestly put less hairs.
Yeah, the hairs are a little weird.
I mean, the hairs come in naturally.
Yeah, but I think on the outside it's kind of looking weird, but the inside hairs is cool. Ball hair is cool. Outside ball hair is not so cool.
So what you're saying is your dick tattoo needs to be manscaped.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I'll keep the tip. The tip's actually pretty cool.
Just the tip?
Yeah, it's a heart. It's pretty sweet.
Oh boy. Rich.
Because when you give the tip, you give love. That's what the heart was meant for.
Oh, Lord.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick is single.
Hey. I don't mind disappointing.
Now have you had any like negative impacts from having a dick tattooed on your leg, which you can totally
Like in
see?
the army?
Yeah, like because you can totally see that motherfucker in PT shorts.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Actually, only at one place, which was at the Academy for NCOs. When a fucking sharp rep came by, he's like, "Is that a dick tattoo?" I was like, yeah, it is. Sorry. He's like, "All right, we're gonna go see the commandant." I was like, "Oh fuck." The commandant looked at it, kind of grinned. He's like, "Put a fucking band-aid over it."
So you had to turn your dick tattoo into Nelly.
Yeah. So that's about it. That's all that came of that. Everybody else thinks it's great.
Great is a really strong word.
I mean,
That's how I
when
take
it comes to a dick tattoo, there's really no middle ground. It's either you're strongly for or you're strongly against. Nobody's like, I'm okay
Basically,
with it.
I have stuff that people wish they could have had.
A dick tattoo?
Pretty much.
Who wishes they could have a dick tattoo?
They have dick tattoo
If you,
hubris?
Everybody.
if you wish you could have a dick tattoo, you would have one.
I don't know.
No.
I'd never get a dick tattoo.
But
Do
now
you wish you could have
But
one?
now he can
I have
experience
a lot of dumb
through me.
tattoos.
He can experience that through me.
That's true.
So that's what people see. They're like, the light in his eyes.
You have light. All right. This one's for Rich. If you could keep any animal outside of common exotics, which I'm assuming means what you own now, which in parentheses says outside of what you could buy at an expo or a store, what would you have?
Oh my gosh, you really should have prepared me for this one.
I did. I literally asked you before we started to start thinking about it.
You didn't ask me about animals, you asked me about books and authors.
You were correct. I forgot. I am a great showrunner,
But I told you.
I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, growing up, I always wanted like a tiger or something like that. But
After the
after
jokes,
Joe Exotic, no.
Actually, we are very close in the Patreon to being able to afford a tiger cub at Joe Exotic prices.
There's actually a great show because I mean I've always been an animal lover. I've always like been the one like the kid that picked up every stray that she found off the street, every bird that fell out of a nest, like whatever the case. I used to pick up baby ducks at the pond. I always wanted a duck. I obviously love reptiles, but I watched this show on I think it's on Amazon. And it's like a Animal Planet show, but it's like all about people who have like crazy exotic pets like chimpanzees and tigers and big cats and like everything. And all about how eventually they attack them. And I think I'm cured of like those really, really like unavailable ones.
Yeah, I don't want to own a chimpanzee and have it eat my face.
Yeah. Like I
And
love
have the
animals.
cops show up and kill it.
And I want to respect them and I want them to be in as much of their natural environment as possible. I like to see them at zoos, and zoos do a lot of work to conserve natural environments, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Like real zoos, not like the southern
Not Joe Exotic zoos.
Wynnewood, like an animal park. Yeah.
Yeah, but and people talk shit about zoos because the animals are caged and everything
Sure.
like that. But they do a lot of conservation work, which
They
is
do a lot
really
of breeding
important.
programs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I think even in the Pacific Northwest, they do like a red wolf breeding program. I think it's a red wolf or something like that.
Yeah,
That it was like extinct in the wild. So like you're fucking welcome.
yeah.
Like if zoos didn't exist, that motherfucker would be extinct.
Yeah. So really, I mean, unavailable exotics, I can't really say that there's one that I'd like to own. I would like to observe them from afar in appropriate places and watch them live their, lives. But I mean, as far as just exotics go, I love all the lizards. I love rhino iguanas and tegus that I own. I really want a bird. I really want a duck.
I would like a toucan. I feel like that's pretty like uncommon. Like, you can't just go buy one, because we saw one at an expo that was not for sale that they were just showing everybody, and it looked like a real life cartoon character.
Ooh, I got it. Okay, I got my answer.
What?
I want a capybara.
Capybaras are friend shaped.
They are.
Everybody loves them.
They just want to love and hug you. Like, there was one at
There's actually a subreddit for people that own them as pets.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. There was a petting zoo that we went to where you could go in and like a capybara would just climb into your lap and just sit on you for hours and let you pet it. It was so cute.
Yeah, they're super friendly. Though I have heard that they're incredibly territorial. Like, when they say they bond to you and like, let's all go to Rich's house for beers, we're going to be attacked by a capybara. Which
or
is
the wallaby. The wallaby was super cute.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
fox.
ever since Rocco's Modern Life, I've been uninterested in wallabies.
Rocco.
He had a lot of stuff going on.
That's definitely not a good one. Oh man.
He's had a lot of stuff going on. Though I am obsessed with foxes, so yeah, for sure.
Foxes are adorable.
Yeah, that's why I always call like a fox dog, because she acts like one, and it's the closest I'll ever come to owning one. And for me, I already said mine. For everyone, if you had to redo a deployment, but you could choose any era and any position outside of being a commander, in any side of a war, what war would you serve in, and what would you do? I mean, the on-brand podcast answer to this is all wars are bad.
Yeah.
But like, also, we're huge nerds and we have real answers to this.
Oh, wow.
Whatever Soviet Union liberated Auschwitz, you get to like give the prisoners weapons. Be like, go ahead and kill your guards.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, Americans did that too.
That's
but
very
like,
true.
Whoever did that, I'm all for that. But like, the European history nerd in me also says like, I'd like to be Napoleon's Imperial Guard.
His aide?
Yeah, I would like to be his aide. What about you?
Oh man, this one's awesome. In all honesty, everything in me just says for some reason World War II. Probably
Drummer
with
boy.
aviation. Yeah,
You're ball turret gunner, even though you're 6 foot tall.
they probably put me in the just regular, not a door, but the fuck. I can't even remember.
Like
Wow,
the tail
it's been so
gunner
long.
or whatever.
I mean that, yeah. But honestly, that definitely something to do with aviation back in World War II. Just how cool.
So you're
going
gonna
to
be dead in like 15 minutes.
Pretty much. Their life expectancy was awful.
Rich, let's just, when we ask this question, let's pretend that Min didn't think that you were subhuman and could fight in all the wars of history.
Yeah, you could do anything.
Okay, so you guys are like thinking of like altruistic reasons and fun reasons and cool reasons and everything, and
I just wanna
I'm
kill
thinking
Nazis.
all I'm thinking about is the horrible living conditions that we had in 2012 in Afghanistan and how much worse that had to be in any past war, because we actually had like some form of technology and shelter and
I have a podcast
sometimes
you can
even
listen to
air
about
conditioning
that.
in
Go ahead and plug it.
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So just based on the fucking horrible living conditions and foodborne illnesses and lack of good medicine, no.
Wait, you mean prayer won't cure my musket ball wound? Oh no.
I don't want to be a part of any of that.
I mean, hypothetically, in all of our situations, we will be the lone survivor. Like, yeah, it was really weird. My whole plane went down. I was the guy that fell 25,000 feet onto a snowbank or whatever and walked away. No, I mean, like, of course, it's terrible. And
A B-17.
if you've ever heard the podcast Lions Led by Donkeys, they actually cover a lot of that stuff.
I have heard of that. Weird. Unless I'm in the Air Force, because they never do shit, so.
To be fair, you brought up the Army Air Corps.
I brought up the Army Air Force.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the coolest Air Force ever.
The only Air Force that matters, I don't recognize the modern U.S. Air Force. It's like a ghost. It doesn't exist. It's the figment of some old
I had
white woman's imagination.
Some cool Army Air Force shit, too. Oh, I think I still do. Oh, man. Some real collectible shit.
All right. What podcasts do you listen to? I think this is where I do the obvious plug, and I point out the fact that our producer, Nate, has like 3 podcasts he's a part of, including this one, to include Hell of a Way to Die, which we all listen to.
Yeah.
And I fucking love Trash Future. I don't think these guys are as thoroughly
even
brain
heard of it.
damaged as I am.
Future?
Trash Future. It's amazing.
What is that?
It's they talk about really dumb tech people and a lot of British politics. But it's and you're probably asking, why the fuck do you care about British politics? I don't. But like, because I hardly care about American politics anymore. But it's so entertaining. The people on it are fucking hilarious. I cannot recommend it enough. There's very few podcasts that I just do not miss a week of. That's one of them. And I also love Knowledge Fight. It's two guys who listen to Alex Jones and then like pretty much just roast him for 2 fucking hours. It's amazing. And then obviously like the history ones. Mike Duncan, everything he's ever done is amazing. Patrick Wyman's Tides of History and the History of Rome is great. And of course, I have to shout out Dan Carlin. I mean, he's pretty much set us down this road long time ago.
Oh man, I loved his hardcore history.
Yeah, if only he could update it more than once every.
You
8
just
months.
gotta wait like every year for an episode. But that episode is gonna be long.
It's to be 4 hours of him going, "Well, I'm not a historian, but," and then.
But I feel like you are.
I mean, I'm not a historian, but I just try not to say it that often, where it's a fucking meme. What other podcasts do you listen to?
Well, other than Dan Carlin, it's definitely you actually put me on last podcast on the left.
I really like them. I've listened to them significantly less lately, but that's mostly due to a change of platform. I don't really use Spotify. I'm a heathen, from what I understand. Rich, I know you listen to a fucking ton of them.
I do. I love Crime Junkies, really good. I love Behind the Bastards with Robert Evans. I love
I don't even know why I didn't bring that up.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. Worst Year Ever, also with Robert Evans, is great. 420 Day Fiance is my shit. Oh my god! If you guys like the show 90 Day Fiance, honestly, even if you don't, Miles Gray and fucking Sophia Alexander are fucking hilarious. They get really high and talk shit about 90 Day Fiance, which is amazing.
I feel like I would like that a whole lot more if I was also high.
Probably, but even sober, it's really fucking
It's like
funny.
Grandma's Boy.
Like,
it's funny, but it's hilarious if you're
Grandma's
ripped out of your mind.
I've been in public places listening to that podcast on headphones and just laughing hysterically. Like, people probably think I'm nuts.
They do.
Yeah.
You're in Seattle, so we're probably podcast.
Also, Armchair Expert is one of my favorites. Specifically, he does it's Dax Shepard's podcast, but specifically he interviews a lot of like psychologists and things like that, which I'm really into psychology. That's what I'm going to school for. So I really like his experts on experts segment where he interviews like psychologists and things like that.
It doesn't mean I'm going to give him a pass for having the first name Dax.
He didn't name himself.
He could have changed
And also,
it.
he's married to Kristen Bell, so...
You know what? Every once in a while, we bat above our weight. All right?
But yeah, all of those. They're great.
Anyone want to add anything to that, if I could speak clearly without mumbling?
I'm good.
Oh, the new Office Ladies podcast is cute, too.
They are way too proud mothers.
Oh, they're very, very, like,
They
emotional.
They cry every episode.
They do
Do they?
cry every
Yes.
episode.
I have them saved. I haven't watched.
Yeah,
like,
it
listened to a
is.
single
It's
one.
super fun to learn about like some of the behind the scenes stuff, though. They're just super like mom about it.
I mean, to be fair, they're both like 40-year-old moms.
Yeah.
So like, no
They
shit.
are super moms.
Yeah.
It's very like PG, like have your cookies and milk while you listen.
Yeah, it's a family-friendly podcast, much like this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, somebody did say that they were listening to the show with their children in the car. Because they're like, apparently their kids really enjoy it. I'm like, oh God, what the fuck are they going to say at
How
work?
old are they?
Not old enough. Probably not old enough to drop a hard C at nap time. So what do you think a ethical military intervention would look like? I don't think we've covered one yet. Yeah, it's really hard to say because, I mean, now we're going to have to talk. Obviously, we're talking hypothetically. And if everything goes right, which it never does, if you're, in case a new listener to this show, or history in general, or the military, nothing ever goes to plan. But I think we've had a couple in our history. We've definitely whiffed on a couple. Obviously, World War II was incredibly ethical for the Germans. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
You know-
I think I have to leave now.
Yeah. No, you guys were listening so intently, I had to snap you out of it. No, I think even though America...
That would have been weird if Rich would have been like, go on.
I'm listening. I learned this in my Texas history class.
Yeah.
No, I think even though America was eventually dragged kicking and screaming into World War II, it was an ethical thing to do, and it was ethical to ensure that the Nazi regime was smashed and that Imperial Japan could not victimize China anymore. Obviously, there's a whole lot more to it than that, such as battling spheres of influence, but that's every war ever. Nobody's ever fighting a war for altruistic means, even if they say they are. I think the bombing or stopping the genocide in Kosovo is absolutely the right thing to do. Yes, we fucked up and bombed the wrong targets every once in a while, but you know what? That's literally what war is. You're not going to launch a war without killing civilians. It's something that has to be taught, like, that does not exist. I agreed with Obama beginning to bomb ISIS in Iraq and Syria because ISIS is a fucking death cult. Yes, we helped create ISIS by invading Iraq in the first place. Trust me, I fucking understand. But they were genociding the Yazidi people of Iraq. And Iraq was not in the position to stop it. And since then, has the war effort gone sideways? Of fucking course it has. It's an American war. They're not meant to have an end. I think we should have been involved in Rwanda. I think we should have been involved in Myanmar. I think we should, we have the strongest military in the world, right? I mean, nobody's going to doubt that, even if we use it incorrectly and it costs way too much. We definitely have the strongest military in the world. The only ethical way to use that military is stopping genocides, of which there's like fucking tons of them around the world all the time, but we never do that. I think that's the only ethical way you could use your military is to stop a genocide or stop some kind of, I don't know, like the Spanish Civil War, to stop a fascist from coming to power. That's going to cause something akin to a genocide, which we didn't do that either. Because like it or not, the government probably kind of liked Franco at the time. But I think that's it. I mean, what would it look like to you guys? I mean, all of us except Nick have fought in an unethical war, so we know what that looks like.
Nick's fought in many fake ones at NTC.
That's right.
The shit ton.
the only good war.
That's right. Yeah, it would look like NTC. No, that'd be awful.
We're at the end, everybody just goes home.
Yeah, it would still be awful.
Mom says I have to go home now.
I could honestly get behind the World War II one. Obviously, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that someone could look at you and say, like, no, we shouldn't have fought the Nazis.
I could definitely see that. I could
It
definitely
happens.
see somebody.
I've seen it.
Have you?
They exist. Or people that claim that, like, Imperial Japan was a victim of American aggression or something.
Yeah, I definitely ran into
Is
those
that the
people.
Fuck you, no.
Is that the
I've definitely
direction
ran
that
into
show
those
that
people.
that on Amazon Prime, the alternate history show?
Oh, the one where Lindbergh wins the presidency?
Yeah, that's the direction that it's going, right? Where they
Yeah,
choose
America's-
not to fight the Nazis.
That's right. Because
Right.
Lindbergh was kind of a Nazi. The American First movement is fascist.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
interested to see where that show goes because
Yeah.
that's like that. But anyways,
I mean, the Japanese were just as bad as the Nazis, if not worse.
They were awful.
The only reason why people don't care so much is because they were killing Chinese people and Americans are racist. Sorry. Fucking show me where I'm wrong, please. I mean, what would it look like to y'all? I mean, fighting the Nazis, everybody can get behind that unless you're a
Yeah.
fucking Nazi.
I'm hesitant to really answer this one because, like, as I've said many times before, I'm not a historian. I don't educate myself enough on
What would you
these
be okay
topics.
fighting for?
Um,
Because you are still in,
Right.
and I mean, hypothetically,
So-
I would still be in this situation. Like,
Yeah.
what I have to think, like, what would I be okay possibly dying for?
currently, I think that our motives are always capitalism based and politically based, like to appease fucking big money and things like that. I would be okay.
Globalists.
I would be okay fighting for
Quoting Alex Jones. I'm
for
kidding.
more like socialist based causes. Like if we're fighting against corrupt governments who are starving their people, if we're fighting against corrupt governments who are enslaving people, or against the drug cartel who is destroying the fucking South America and America for that matter, those I think would be ethical if we're fighting those for the right reason and to actually stabilize countries and bring nations back to being viable. those would be ethical causes for military intervention, but we just don't have that down because our priorities aren't in the right place.
So what I'm gathering from this is you want to use the most powerful military in the world to topple capitalism.
Yes, I want to help people.
Amazing.
I saw a giant fucking blanket get thrown out.
Did you see the smile spread across my face? I'm willing to ignore the drug war bit. Now, what do you think is the most overrated, quote unquote, great in military history? It could be like Patton, Eisenhower, Napoleon. I think I've answered this before, and I'll say it again. Fucking the entire Confederacy lost cause bullshit that comes up, because like literally it was like, well, the Confederates had the better generals. No, they fucking didn't, you goddamn idiots.
You know what? I heard that in school too.
Yeah.
Really
no,
sad.
you get it all the time, because Robert E. Lee didn't swing from the fucking gallows, and instead he got turned into a goddamn hero. And there's a reason why he was not a general. He was a colonel, and the Confederates made him a general. Fuck him.
He wasn't a real general.
No, he was a colonel.
Yeah.
He was a slave-owning colonel that was so vicious to his own slaves, even other people in the South were like, damn. So, like, fuck him. The only thing that went wrong after the Civil War is we didn't reconstruct the South harder. What about you guys?
That was a solid fuck him.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that enough. Mostly because of apparently we still have neo-Confederates that pop up in our timeline.
I'll go ahead and stick with my World War II theme. I'll go with Patton.
I'm gonna say right now, you neo-Confederates, you're listening to the Rock Podcast.
And how have you made it 100 episodes?
Are you donating?
One.
Now, I'm personally conflicted about Patton because he was a huge piece of shit. That much is incontrovertible. We've covered that in our bonus army episode. But I mean, he was a huge piece of shit, but he was okay at what he did, except the fact that like he was totally fine with like nuclear holocaust of the USSR after the war. But
this is the next big target, and then dies.
Yeah, he really didn't like him some Soviets. But I mean, he did his job okay. But he was it's hard because
You gotta slap a few soldiers here and there.
yeah, and that's where something that comes up where it's like, you know, what makes a good leader? You know, like it's of like, do they have empathy? Do they have like love for the people under him? Or they just accomplish the mission? I'm sure the former Secretary of the Navy could probably answer that for me. But
Are you gonna get him on as a guest?
yes, I could tell him to go fuck himself. Yeah.
The whole time?
Yeah. Hi, sir. Could you eat my butt?
And then he'll try to answer something serious.
Hit him with a bofa.
Yeah.
It's like, because you have to kind of like understand like what is a great like, and that's something that like somehow everybody gives Lee all of those things. Like they show him as like a compassionate Southern gentleman towards his soldiers, but also like completely ignore the fact that he literally whipped slaves and had brine poured on them because he's a racist. But also he lost a lot of fucking battles, and then the entire South. Like the war ended when he, for all means, surrendered. The war ended. So like, not that great.
Scumbag.
Yeah, piece of shit. He was a bad person and a bad leader. So like, we even though like we're all generally lower enlisted, Rich a little bit higher than I ever got, obviously. Like we have to like, what like does a good leader take care of their soldiers while also balancing that with like, you know, taking a fucking city, or do they take that fucking city, but also your Patton, who's like smacking people around, but also drove tanks at protesters in DC? Like, where's the toss up?
I feel like as a general, you shouldn't have to go as low as to smack a troubled soldier.
Yeah, like I understand PTSD wasn't totally understood back then, but like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't physically abusing soldiers wasn't okay in World War II either.
No.
Like that's why it sticks out so much. Like everybody was like shocked that he did that. So if you can like be in the 1940s and do something so outside beside the pale as that, it's like, god damn, you must be a pretty big piece of shit. Because like it was acceptable that black and white people don't work together back then. So like if you did something that was so awful as like physically abuse a soldier in front of a crowd of people, yikes. At least like Napoleon did it too, who's, you know, my personal favorite for history thing. But like it was acceptable for people to abuse and beat their subordinates then. Those make it right. But like it makes it more understandable.
I guess, yeah.
Like that's why like something that a lot of people think like, oh, this guy sucked because he did all this fucked up shit back then, which is fair. But like I said, like owning slaves is bad from a 2020 perspective. and it was bad to a lot of people back in the 1860s as well. But like Lee did things that were so horrible that even other slave owners were like, holy shit. That's why like patent beating soldiers, everybody's like, God damn. And it's like in our Napoleon series, I tried not to point out that beating soldiers with his riding crop was so crazy. It was just out of character for Napoleon. It wasn't out of character for the military back then by any fucking stretch of the imagination. But like for Napoleon, it was like, damn. So you have to measure like what is a good person or a good leader by what section of history they were in. And Patton's a piece of shit. Too long, didn't read. Patton's kind of a piece of shit. And he died in a car accident.
He did.
Which is actually a conspiracy theory, which I kind of buy into, that the Soviets
What?
did it.
There's a conspiracy behind it?
Well, this conspiracy is that the Soviets definitely assassinated him because I don't know if I believe it or not, but I probably don't. But
You'd have to look more into his car
Yeah.
crash, Steven.
yeah,
But it
because
was a shitty car.
he was so like incredibly anti-communist and was talking about how we totally need to invade the Soviet Union after the war that they're like, should probably kill that guy. To be fair, Winston Churchill had like the same idea. It was like a whole plan called Operation Unthinkable that involved like rearming the German Wehrmacht immediately after the war to invade the Soviet Union. It's the dumbest fucking plan on earth. And that actually brings us to our next question. What is a conspiracy theory that you believe? You guys both just exchange a really troubling glance.
Because this is awesome. I honestly love JFK once.
Yeah.
I fucking
You're a
love
grassy
JFK
knoll type guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
There were 6 shooters.
My
No.
personal favorite JFK thing was there was a cop directly behind them that had a negligent discharge that
What?
shot him in the head. Because, like, being a soldier long enough, like, I could fucking see that.
Do you think the cop was just sitting, because he's from Texas, so he's sitting there fucking like twirling
Just
it?
twirling his
Yeah.
He's bored.
And he's like,
God damn it, Billy Bob killed the
he
president.
fucking puts it away.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my personal
I
favorite one of
fucking
those.
love JFK ones. They're honestly my favorite.
Okay, that's your favorite, but which one do you actually believe?
Do I believe?
Yeah.
I need like a list of conspiracy theories to choose from or
Oh,
something.
if you believe in one, you already know it.
No, I don't think about it that much.
You
Let's
should.
see. Because you got the grassy knoll guys. You got the umbrella guy. I would honestly...
There's an umbrella guy?
Yeah, you never heard of that one? The guy sitting in on the street, he has the umbrella. It's the nicest day, but he has a black umbrella, and apparently he puts it up to signal to everybody to take the shot in the area.
Really?
Yeah.
I've actually never heard that. I've heard the magic bullet. I've heard the negligent discharge.
That one's awesome.
So I think the conspiracy theory that I've always kind of bought was that the Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme was assassinated by South Africa. And that's kind of like
You're going to have to go into more on this one.
it's a niche conspiracy, and it's from a long time ago. So the dude just kind of went missing, and sorry, no, he didn't go missing. He was just shot while he's leaving his house. Nobody ever knows who did it. Nobody was ever arrested. Like the dude didn't even have bodyguards because he's the fucking Swedish prime minister, and it's I think like the 80s, I think. But he was a really vocal anti-apartheid voice in the world. And obviously, in the late 80s, South Africa was led by a whole bunch of white dudes and oppressing tens of millions of black people. And he was a prominent voice in the world stage for anti-apartheid stuff. So they fucking shot him. I mean, for all the other fucked up shit that apartheid South Africa did, that hardly even registers. So I believe it. And nobody to this day, it's unsolved.
Really?
So, like, I think they arrested someone, then had to release him because, like, yeah, he probably had nothing to do with it.
Did they do the old couldn't find anything?
Well, it was just so out, like, nobody ever thought of it. I think the correct term for it is a failure of imagination. Like, they didn't even, because the dude liked to go out walking at night because it's the late 80s. What the fuck else are you going to do? I don't know. And he just got capped. If they had a professional do it, like, because, I mean, South Africa had a ton of assassins that they used to take out like African militants and stuff like that. It would make sense why they didn't get caught. Also, if you quickly run back to South Africa, not gonna get caught. How about you, Rich?
I could probably believe any conspiracy against somebody who's like stirring some political upset and then mysteriously dies or gets murdered.
especially when like apartheid South Africa is involved and they have like hit squads.
That's definitely what she was going for.
Yeah.
Or even more recently and relevant, Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh fuck it! Epstein makes an appearance in Lines Led by Donkeys. Oh man,
I could
That's
definitely.
awesome.
No, I don't buy that shit for a second.
believe
And I think conspiracies exist because, like random acts of violence, terrorist attacks, things like that. Actually, I think my second favorite one is Finland doesn't exist.
Can I?
What?
What?
That one's awesome.
It
Because I
doesn't
thought
exist.
mine was good.
It's completely bad. It's a fake conspiracy theory. Like someone said that like I bet if we say this enough, someone will eventually believe it.
Can I say a local one that's mostly just spread by me?
I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. I think that's you just lying to people.
No, it's definitely a conspiracy. That the Chinese place up the street is a money laundering front.
Oh, that's so common. Everybody has a place in town that's totally a money laundering front. Normally, it's mattress stores.
Guys, it's not
Yeah.
because it's a Chinese food place. It's because they literally don't ever have fucking customers and they're still somehow open.
Sounds like
Paying Washington State rent prices.
That's almost like places in Killeen that were like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like normally everybody has a place in town that everybody's kind of weirded out by. Normally,
the
it's
food is awful. I actually ordered from there
Yeah,
one
it's
time.
terrible. It's so bad.
horrible.
Never had it.
normally it's mattress places that are considered money laundering fronts because nobody ever buys that many mattresses from a mattress place, and they never
They
close.
store their money in the mattress.
Not what I was going
I
for.
see where you're going with this.
Well done, Nick. You figured
You're
it
not
out.
lying. What's yours, Nick?
I liked the Marilyn Monroe was killed by the Kennedys.
I mean,
That's a good one.
that one's not bad. I like it. Other than the fact that like she was a depressed person with substance abuse issues, and
That makes it easier to fucking hide the conspiracy.
she was a well-known star.
Yeah. So use her substance abuse issues and get rid of the problem.
We're in a long enough timeline. She's going to take care of that herself.
That's why it's a good
I
conspiracy.
can get on board with it.
I mean, just by being around the Kennedys, she's much more likely to fucking die because they're cursed.
Yeah, they're. Oh yeah.
So fucking cursed.
Did you see that another two members of the Kennedy family went missing on their canoe the other day?
What?
Yeah,
A canoe.
Holy shit.
yeah, they were. The story's fucking
You should
bonkers
probably just.
because it makes no sense. Like they lost a soccer ball out in their lakefront home or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, we'll go get it." And like the child and the mother, I think it was, climbed in the canoe and just gone.
What the fuck?
Yep.
That
Mol-
family is cursed.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a Kennedy.
I wonder what happened.
I wouldn't mind.
Like in ancient times, what happened to them that it was like some like fucking like money swap scheme. Like you are gonna be really, really rich, but your entire family is going to die in really tragic accidents.
I'm going to assume it started when JFK escaped, like getting ran over by a fucking ship during World War II. Because that guy totally should have died.
He definitely
swam,
should've.
he
Yeah,
swam
he
like
swam
3
for
fucking
fucking
miles,
miles.
and it looked like dozens of broken bones and shrapnel wounds. Like no,
With
at
the
that
wounded
moment,
guy.
yeah. At that
Come
point, it
on.
reminds me of a Punisher comic from forever ago when like he got wounded in Vietnam, and like some voice was talking to him. It's like one of the reboots. It's not very good, but it's like I could like you don't have to die, and he's like, well, I don't want to die. Okay, and then like his family all died, and that's
What?
why the Punisher's family died.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what happened to JFK.
Yeah.
That's what the Punisher comics are based off.
yeah.
of.
He's actually
He's
haunted
Frank
by the
Castle?
poltergeist, the Frank Castle.
Yeah, it's Frank Castle.
No, because he
Cool.
definitely wasn't cool enough to be Frank Castle because he was like on a ton of painkillers and a walker
He
for
wouldn't
most
be
of his life. after-
2004 the Punisher.
No, he definitely he's no Tom Jane.
No, he's not.
All right. Next question. No, so imagine you are the chair of the Joint Chiefs a month after 9/11, and George W. Bush actually listens to you. What is your advice or recommendations?
Oh shit.
Holy crap!
I know. I think the most eye-opening part is like, wait, someone's actually going to listen to me. I thought I just stood here in a neat uniform. Mine's pretty easy. So for people who aren't aware, the Taliban offered to give the United States Osama bin Laden in exchange for acceptance that they were the government of Afghanistan. I would take that deal, and that would end it. I mean, of course, the Taliban could be like, ha ha ha, I'll hit you with the reverse Uno card. We don't actually have Osama bin Laden. But like, whatever, I still would take that deal.
New book idea.
The Taliban hits you with the reverse Uno card.
No, alternate history story.
What, like the Forever War never happens?
Yeah.
That book could be real boring because just the only thing that would happen is like a couple thousand Americans are still alive.
No, it would be similar to Stephen King's the 11. I can never remember the date.
The one with the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah, the one where the alternate history where Kennedy was never assassinated.
No, we just invade Iraq anyway. That probably still happens. Because after this works so smoothly and Bush doesn't get his war, I probably get fired. Or I mysteriously wake up with 6 gunshots in the front of my face and it's a suicide.
You wake up with 6 gunshots.
Well, I'd wake up after the first one.
Oh.
That one's the one that wakes you up.
Oh, fuck!
Which one puts you down?
Number 6.
Nice.
What about you guys?
Honestly, yours is as good as mine. I have no fucking clue.
No idea.
No, Rich is over like, fuck that, we're invading Afghanistan anyway.
No.
Otherwise, fuck Texas. Otherwise, I won't get my combat patch.
Whoever said fuck Texas, we're invading.
No, honestly, my plan works, even if you really, really want war, because think of how many SEAL books will never happen.
They'll still happen.
You'll never know who Eddie Gallagher is.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
SEAL books will happen. But off the off chance that Eddie Gallagher might not happen, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last 20 years.
There's somewhere a monkey paws curling inwards and Eddie Gallagher's elected president.
If we could have avoided Afghanistan in the last 20 years, we could have gotten into like a better war, a cooler war or something. Like America.
What would that look like, Rich?
America's good at getting into shit.
Yeah, like I said, we'd probably still invade Iraq anyway. Like, we got Osama bin Laden, but we don't have Saddam yet. And Saddam's over there like, wait, what? What do I have to do with any of this? I thought you solved that whole kind of thing.
With his magician in the background.
So this one is a bit of a niche, if you guys are not aware. Niche, if you will.
I thought you said an
I thought you said itch.
Yeah.
It's an itch. It's
like that you need to scratch.
You got crabs.
A little scrotal itch.
I like how this one knows. The person who wrote this question knows how we speak because it says, "What is your/y'all's position on Jane Fonda endorsing the North Vietnamese army? And hypothetically, would you sign up to fight in Vietnam?" Well, to answer your second question first, goddamn fuck no.
Hell no.
And I think we all have family members who fought in Vietnam. I have 2 who fought in both the French and American War, and I can tell you no, and I would dodge the draft.
In a
100%.
heartbeat.
Yep. No shame in that.
My family had horror stories.
Yep. As far as Jane Fonda's endorsing of the NVA, first off, I feel like I should probably point out that she apologized for it.
She did.
But also, I think a lot of people fall into the same trap Jane Fonda does. And the only difference between you and her is that she was a movie star, and so the Vietnamese kind of want to hang out with her. You become propaganda.
Yeah.
She was anti-war, which we all are. Anybody with a fucking brain is. And she did other things, like she hosted USO shows for soldiers that were outside of Bob Hope's ultra-patriotic USO shows before they went to Vietnam. But then she went to Vietnam in North Vietnam and hung out on top of an anti-aircraft battery that definitely killed Americans. And she also lied about American prisoners of war, everybody knew they were being tortured, and she said they were being treated fine. I think that's pretty unforgivable. And I'm not saying that because I support the American war in Vietnam. You can be anti-imperialist and anti-war and not become propaganda. Don't do that.
Don't become propaganda.
It's like you
New
can
slogan.
Yeah, you can be anti-war but also like not support Bashar al-Assad. You can be anti-imperialist and realize that like the North Vietnamese government was pretty goddamn horrible and did horrible things to ethnic minorities.
And it's like a lot of even like recent stories. You can be anti-war and still support American troops. Also, like and not do things that go against their well-being.
And I think that slaving of one to the other is directly tied to Vietnam, is a massive overcorrection of the American media narrative. Because the anti-war movement was so successful in Vietnam and widely supported that they began to equate one with the other. And that's why I'm largely anti-soldier because I was one.
Solid.
And I can tell you from first-hand experience, most of them are pretty dumb. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm not. But any anti-war behavior, movement, feeling, anti-imperialist movement, feeling, whatever, is not anti-soldier. Soldiers are enlisted or conscripted, significantly less conscripted these days, and they don't have any say in what they're doing. But you can be very much anti-officer, anti-general, anti-politician that starts and leads these wars. That's fine. But I mean, I'm as against the Afghan war as anybody I know. I'm not going to go hang out with the Taliban because the Taliban are pieces of shit.
Yeah, that'd be super weird.
Yeah.
That would be kind of weird.
Yeah.
Seeing you on the fucking news.
Yeah. Turns out these guys are fine.
Yeah.
They're great.
These guys are cool.
Yeah, just because someone is fighting America and you don't agree with that war does not mean they're intrinsically good.
Yeah.
And that is a fucking that's something that I actually set out, and I think I kind of overcorrected a bit on that from a leftist perspective, that leftists aren't good at history. In that they as a group, I'm trying to not generalize here, but as a group, they generally are contrarian, and they believe that the Vietnam War was bad, so North Vietnam was good, or that the Korean War is bad, so North Korea was good.
I think it gets super fucking muddy because you want there to be a good side and a bad side. So everybody who's pro-America
It's
thinks that
easier.
America is always the good side, and we're not. We fucking suck sometimes, but but other people suck as much or worse sometimes. Like there's good and bad in everybody.
That's why, like, the meme, I think it's a drill tweet or whatever, is like, no, there cannot be two bad things here, you fucking idiot, you absolute imbecile. Like, sometimes two people just fucking suck.
Yeah.
I mean, the Korean War is a great example of that. South Korea is a fucking dictatorship, just like North Korea was. That was just Cold War bullshit, and both sides were wrong.
And it's a huge misconception too that
And North Korea invaded the South.
Yeah. Like America is fighting for America's beliefs and political structure and culture, but the people that we're fighting against are fighting for the same thing, just on
Right.
their side, their beliefs, their culture, their political structure. So
Well, I mean, when you're talking about things like the Vietnam War, that's absolutely not what we were fighting for. But in South Vietnam was largely a puppet state. That the split between the two was meant to be solved with an election that the North Vietnamese absolutely would have won. And that's why we got involved, because we're like, oh, nope, can't have Vietnam become communist.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that North Vietnam was wrong in attacking the South. I kind of get that, because they had an election stolen from them. And we were wrong in defending South Vietnam, in my opinion. Just let it figure itself out. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go hang out the North Vietnamese army. Like that whole, I mean, and there's a lot of urban legends, I guess you could say, that have popped up around this. Soldiers saying that they gave Jane Fonda letters to bring home, and she gave them to the North Vietnamese. Never happened. There's no documented case that happened. But she's such a hateable character towards that era of veterans that I could say I watched her eat a baby, and you'd probably believe me at the local fucking American Legion or whatever.
Go to the VFW down the street.
Yeah, the one in the double wide?
Yeah.
I mean, I think she was dumb. But she was, I think, in her early 20s, mid 20s.
She was young.
yeah, she was really young.
She was dumb and got played. She got played for propaganda. It happens to people all the fucking time. It happens to America literally every day. So, I mean, I feel like people should be a little bit more understanding. She did apologize. She didn't kill anybody. You know.
And that is also, like, I mean, especially now with, like, all of this, like, cancel culture shit, like, you have to kind of decide if you're going to let people make mistakes and then grow into better people. Because people do horrific shit sometimes, or even just, like, meaningly bad shit. And then if you grow and you learn from it and you become a better person because of it, or you apologize for it and you mean it, like, are you still canceled? Are we still going to fucking hate you for the rest of your life because you did something bad?
Well, if you say a slur, you're a rapist, you can just get fired into the sun of cancel.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck about
I'm
you.
not saying that I mean, obviously Hitler is completely canceled and
Whoa,
can
big
will
take.
never
That
come
one.
back from that. but like there's
I don't know. He's making a comeback in some circles.
There's levels of it. Like if you make a dumb fucking mistake in your 20s, like are you canceled for the rest of your life?
And to Jane Fonda's credit, it never slowed her down. She's an activist till this day and was
Yeah, it's
arrested
true.
very recently for protesting. So
Really?
like, yeah. So unlike a lot of fucking shitty ass hippies who lost their thread and became shitty fucking centrist boomers and Republicans, she's still 100% through and through. So like, she fucked up. A lot of people are guilty of that. I don't hold it against her. I think she was dumb and got played.
Yeah.
I think if any of us became prominent enough where a government asked us to visit, you'd get played too. I mean, you're fighting an entire state aperture of fucking power. You're not going to win.
Right.
What government would invite you?
Nobody. I mean, to be fair, the University of North Carolina is state funded, so I guess North Carolina. So we're at a little over an hour, so we should probably wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for the questions. Thank you to y'all for joining me.
I like these questions.
If we didn't get to your question, I apologize. We kind of got long-winded on a few of them, and we're not one to normally make 2-hour-long podcasts because who's going to listen to us for that long? So I really enjoyed doing this. We're try to do it like once a year. I feel like that's pretty cool.
You also do questions from the Legion at the end of your episodes?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I mean, all these are pretty much questions from the Legion. Oh, we just opened it up to everybody. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that through rating and reviewing us on iTunes. You can do it more by donating to the show on Patreon. You can get bonus content like access to the Discord, bonus episodes, stickers, books, early episodes, all sorts of stuff.
Joe's toenails.
In a Ziploc bag, airmailed. Yeah. Irish Royal Mail will get it there in like 6 months.
I have my Ziploc bag. Get yours.
And that's all I got. I always feel like, you kind of have a point and then you don't, and you just feel like an idiot because you hit nothing.
Like Michael Scott.
Yep.
You start a sentence and then you
I'm just hoping it catches up with me. Yep. That's me in the history of this show. So until next time, thank you, everybody. And here's to maybe another 100 more if you guys can stick around
Hear,
for
hear.
it. Later.
Terrible. Yeah.